Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most profound and central concepts in Hindu philosophy, Brahman. You might have heard the term before, but what does it really mean? Is it a god, a place, an idea? Well, it's a bit more complex and a lot more fascinating than that. Stick around as we unpack the mystery of Brahman. So, let's start with the basics. In the simplest terms, Brahman is the ultimate, unchanging reality of the universe. It's not a personal-like God who resides in a heaven, but rather the very fabric of existence itself. The ancient Hindu scriptures, especially the Upanishads, describe Brahman as the source, the substance, and the final destination of everything. Think of it this way. Everything you see, feel, and experience, the stars in the sky, the tree outside your window, your own thoughts and feelings, is considered a manifestation or an expression of this one single, universal consciousness. This is a pretty big idea to wrap your head around, so let's use an analogy. Imagine a vast, infinite ocean. The waves that rise and fall, the foam, the bubbles, they all appear to be separate things with individual forms. But in reality, they are all just water. They come from the ocean, are made of the ocean, and eventually merge back into the ocean. In this analogy, the ocean is Brahman, and all the individual forms we see in the world, including ourselves, are like the waves. We appear separate, but our true nature is one and the same, with the ultimate reality. The Upanishads describe Brahman with the phrase Satchitananda. This Sanskrit term is a key to understanding its nature. Let's break it down. Sat means being or existence. It points to the fact that Brahman is the only thing that truly exists in an absolute sense. Everything else is temporary and changing. Chit means consciousness or awareness. This tells us that Brahman is not just some inanimate cosmic energy. It is pure, undiluted consciousness. It's the awareness that illuminates all our experiences. And finally, Ananda means bliss or absolute joy. This isn't the fleeting happiness we get from external things. It's a state of profound, unconditional peace and contentment that is the very nature of our true self. So, Brahman is pure existence, pure consciousness, and pure bliss. Now, this is where it gets even more interesting. Hindu philosophy makes a distinction between two aspects of Brahman, Nirguna Brahman and Saguna Brahman. Let's start with Nirguna. Nirguna means without qualities or without attributes. This is Brahman in its absolute, transcendent state. It's beyond all description, all thought, and all human comprehension. You can't say it's big or small, good or bad, here or there. Any label you try to put on it would limit it, and Nirguna Brahman is limitless. It is the formless, unmanifested source of everything. Think of it as pure potential, the silent, still canvas upon which the entire universe is painted. But how do we relate to something that's completely beyond description? This is where Saguna Brahman comes in. Saguna means with qualities or with attributes. Saguna Brahman is the manifested personal aspect of the ultimate reality. It's Brahman viewed through the lens of the human mind and heart. When we worship gods and goddesses like Vishnu, Shiva, or Devi, we are connecting with Saguna Brahman. These divine forms are not seen as separate from Brahman, but as accessible, personal manifestations of that one supreme reality. They provide a focus for devotion, prayer, and love. So, while Nirguna Brahman is the destination, Saguna Brahman is often seen as the path, a relatable form that helps guide our spiritual journey. It's the same reality, just experienced in two different ways, one as the formless absolute, and the other as the loving, personal divine. So, how does all of this relate to you and me? This is where another crucial concept comes into play. Atman. Atman is the individual soul, the divine spark, or the true self within each and every living being. And here's the most profound teaching of Vedanta philosophy. Atman is Brahman. This is summed up in the great Sanskrit saying, Tatti Vam Asi, which means you are that. It's not saying you will become Brahman one day, or that a part of you is Brahman. It's saying that your innermost, truest self, right here and now, is identical to that ultimate, universal consciousness. Think back to our ocean analogy. The wave might think of itself as just a wave, separate, temporary, defined by its shape and size. But its true identity is the ocean. Similarly, we often identify with our body, our mind, our personality, and our life story. We think, I am this person with these strengths and weaknesses. But according to Vedanta, this is a limited identity. Our true self, the Atman, is the eternal, unchanging Brahman. The goal of the spiritual journey, then, is to realize this truth not just intellectually, but as a direct, living experience. This realization is called moksha, or liberation. Moksha is liberation from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, known as samsara. This cycle is driven by karma and our mistaken identification with the temporary self. When we live our lives believing we are just this limited individual, we are trapped by our desires, fears, and attachments. But when we realize our true nature as Brahman, we are freed from this illusion. It's like waking up from a dream. While you were in the dream, everything felt very real: the joys, the sorrows, the struggles. But upon waking, you realize it was all just a play of consciousness. The realization of Atman as Brahman is that spiritual awakening. It doesn't mean you disappear or that the world vanishes. The world continues, but your relationship to it changes completely. You live with a sense of freedom, peace, and unconditional love, because you know that you are one with everything. So how does one achieve this realization? The ancient texts outline several paths, or yogas, to suit different temperaments. There's Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge, which involves deep inquiry and contemplation on the nature of reality. Practitioners study the scriptures and meditate on questions like, who am I? To peel back the layers of false identity. Then there's Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion. This involves directing love and devotion towards a personal form of God, or Saguna Brahman. Through prayer, chanting, and service, the devotee's heart opens up, and the separation between the worshipper and the worshipped dissolves. There's also Karma Yoga, the path of selfless action. A karma yogi performs their duties in the world without attachment to the results of their actions. They offer every action as a service to the divine, purifying their mind and dissolving the ego. And finally, there's Raja Yoga, the path of meditation and mental control, famously outlined by Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras. Through practices like concentration and meditation, the practitioner stills the fluctuations of the mind, allowing the light of the true self, the Atman, to shine through. These paths are not mutually exclusive. Most spiritual seekers incorporate elements from all of them. But the common thread is the turning of our attention inward, away from the constant distractions of the external world, to discover the source of peace and reality that lies within. Understanding Brahman isn't just an abstract philosophical exercise. It has profound implications for how we live our lives. If we truly see the same divine essence in everyone and everything, how can there be room for hatred, conflict, or prejudice? This vision promotes universal love, compassion, and respect for all of life. It encourages us to live in harmony with nature, seeing it not as a resource to be exploited, but as a manifestation of the sacred. It also provides a deep source of strength and resilience. When we are rooted in the understanding that our true nature is the eternal, blissful Brahman, the inevitable ups and downs of life lose their power to shake us. We can face challenges with courage and grace, knowing that our essential being cannot be harmed by temporary circumstances. We find a joy that isn't dependent on external achievements or possessions, but that flows from the wellspring of our own being. To sum it all up, Brahman is the single, all-encompassing reality of the universe's pure existence, consciousness, and bliss. It can be understood as both the formless, transcendent, absolute nirguna and the personal, immanent, divine saguna. The core of this teaching is that our own true self, the Atman, is one and the same with Brahman. The ultimate goal of human life is to realize this unity, to achieve moksha or liberation through paths like knowledge, devotion, action, and meditation. This is a vast and profound topic, and we've really only scratched the surface today. But I hope this gives you a clearer understanding of what Brahman means and why it continues to be such a powerful and inspiring concept for millions of people around the world. It invites us to look beyond our limited identities and discover the infinite reality that we truly are. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. If you found this interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the world's great wisdom traditions. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What did you find most fascinating about the concept of Brahman? Until next time, take care.